Hello, everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is James Bonanno and I will be your host for the fifth day in a row. I am super excited to be here on this beautiful Friday afternoon on the East Coast or wherever you are joining us from. I am just really excited to get back into Premiere Pro to wrap up this week's Daily Creative Challenge. If you're just joining us on YouTube, make sure to take a look at that description in the link in the description below, where you will find the source file. It is a little bit light today, but the source file is my 10 favorite and a few bonuses in there, shortcuts in Premiere Pro, which we will be discussing and going over today in great detail. And anybody joining in the chat on Behance, if you have questions, if you have suggestions of different shortcuts that are your favorites, please let me know. I do want to include them and try to just make this 30-minute session as effective and efficient as possible for you. And without further ado, let's dive right in. Welcome Ivy, welcome Wade, Laura, Christelle, the whole gang is here once again on a Friday afternoon, and I couldn't be more excited to talk about Premiere. It's a passion of mine, as is video editing. So the first thing I have up here is just a document that you will see in your project files and in your source files. This is just something that I put together really quickly. You can keep it. You can just kind of keep it on the side. There are so many Premiere Pro keyboard shortcuts that are at your disposal all the time, whether you know it or not. These are just a few of my favorites, and I'll kind of explain why they're the most useful in my workflow and why I use them on a regular basis. There are so many more than this that are on this list, but once again, I thought maybe 10 would kind of be a good cap. If we end up addressing all of them and going into detail and we have some more time, maybe I'll throw a few more of those bonuses in there. So keep this up with you. I'm going to get into Premiere and we're going to actually be referencing this list and just going through the shortcuts. So Christelle, welcome everybody. And without further ado, let's hop right into Premiere Pro. Hopefully everyone has a fun weekend planned. And to start that weekend, let's learn about video editing and shortcuts that will help speed up that process. So if you joined us yesterday, if you joined me yesterday and you joined me earlier in the week, I have been referencing a couple different project files, a trip from Bend, Oregon, and a trip from Iceland, just because they're on the hard drive that I'm editing off of, and they're a little bit easier for me to kind of navigate. The source files that you have in the description are some of the clips from those places. Like I said, today is just going to be a document and you can sort of just follow along and watch some of these shortcuts. If you have footage at home that you're working on, feel free to use the tips and tricks that you've learned earlier in the week and import those, organize your project panel and start using these shortcuts as we go along. So let's just dive into the first one. Let me pull this back up here so I have it in front of me. That is not what we want. Those are all my emails. Here we go. Let's start with the first one. Okay, so we went over this yesterday, but Command N, creating new sequences quickly. Okay, so if I was just going to create a new sequence, and the sequence, if we're talking a little bit more fundamental, is where you're actually editing, physically cutting all of those clips, you would just go here, File, New, Project. Now, the beauty of any Adobe software and product is that every shortcut that exists before you actually change them is already here for you. So if you forget it, you can just look and say, okay, Command N, this is a new project. We want to create a new sequence. So Command N is right below. Okay, so if I was going to create a new project, Shift Command N, that would actually create a whole new project. If I clicked Command N, that creates that new sequence that I'm looking for. And as I mentioned yesterday, inside of that sequence, you can come in here, you can select any one of these modes and these presets. This time base and this time code is obviously going to depend on the frame rate in which you shot the footage. So if I shot everything in 60 frames or 5994 with that drop frame, these are the time codes, or sorry, the time bases that I would select as my frame rate. Editing mode, DSLR is just kind of what I stay on. And then I tend to customize this. And then you can save this as a preset. So let's say we want to name this. This is kind of another little hot tip shortcut. Let's say I'm shooting a lot of my footage in 60 frames per second. I'm going to go RE Cinema. Actually, no, let's go to DSLR because for some reason, RE Cinema doesn't have 60 frames per second. And I'm going to go to my frame size, 3840 by 2160. And once again, if you were here yesterday, that's just duplicating 1920 and duplicating 1080. So that gives you that 4K window that we're looking for, that frame size. and we're just gonna keep that sequence name as is. And if we wanna save this as a preset, so it actually saves us time in the end, we're just gonna save it. We're gonna name this 4K 60 sequence setting. And we're gonna, we'll just leave the description blank for now, but we'll just press OK. And let's see right here. So down in the custom window is where you'll actually see this. And if we had a description with whatever additional information we wanted, this is where you'd see it, but we'll press OK. And now our sequence is created. So if we go Command N and we want to go back to that preset, here it is right here. We don't have to input that every time. Another huge shortcut and another great hack to save you some time and not have to just input for the first 15 minutes of you setting up your project. Okay. So that's the first thing, creating sequence settings. That will probably be the first order of business that you would do anyway. If you missed yesterday's lesson, we went over really the fundamentals of me organizing my whole project. So if you're brand new to Premiere again, check that out first and then kind of pop over here and check this video out. I don't know why I keep losing my, my list here. Oh, there I am. Let's go back and make sure that we have our list pulled up. Hold on one second here, everybody. I think I just lost what my shortcuts were, and I'm not sure why. Hold on one second here. Let's see. I am going to go back in here, and I'm just going to pull this up because I do have a lot of shortcuts that I want to talk to you about, and I had a document that I'm hoping you reference, and I just want to make sure I have it up too. I think I might have lost it here on my my desktop. So give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up in my folder here, and that way we have it. Okay, so our next shortcut that I'm going to talk about, and the order that I put this in is really not necessarily like the order it should play out. It's just an order that I felt was necessary, is called ripple delete. Okay. And this is when you actually start getting into the cut itself. This is when you're in the timeline, you're physically cutting things, you're starting to, chop stuff away. And rather than having to take the razor tool all the time, see right here, there's another button over here called the ripple edit tool. And then there's the ripple tool, which for some reason is not showing up here, but the ripple delete tool, which is, I believe W on our keyboard. Let's clear in and out points here. So let's say I wanted to, for some reason, chop this whole front section of the sequence out of the Iceland video that I've already created, right? And I can just come right here, and where my marker is, if I press W on the keyboard, oops, let's go back for a second. What's happening here? Uh-oh. Jimmy's having a problem today. This is what happens on Friday when you've been doing this all week and you're like, okay, what am I trying to teach today? What's happening? Okay, so let's actually pick one individual clip. Let's say I'm taking this clip of me walking up the falls. If I press W on my keyboard, oh, you know what's happening right now? I know what's happening. Okay, we're going to skip over that for a second, and we're going to go to another shortcut because I've been kind of bouncing around from laptop to laptop. This is my wife's laptop that I'm using right now, and I've been creating shortcuts on my laptop. Let me hop into showing everybody how to actually create these keyboard shortcuts if you want to alter them and change them. So if you come up here to where it says Premiere Pro and you go to keyboard shortcuts, you're going to come in here to this whole window that basically just looks like your keyboard. And all of these shortcuts are already automatically on the essential Premiere window before you open it up. So if I wanted to go to press W, I can see that right now nothing is actually, ripple delete. Yeah, it is for some reason. I'm not sure why that's not working. I thought that might be the issue. But basically, this is where you can actually adjust and customize your keyboard shortcuts. So we're going to go into that in the end. We're going to skip over ripple delete. We're going to go to a different shortcut, and we'll come back to that at the end if Premiere wants to cooperate with us. Okay, so one of the things you see me doing a lot on these streams is this and this. And this is my zooming in and out of my timeline, which I feel like is often a procrastination method if I'm not really sure what I want to do with my edit, if I'm hitting a roadblock. But a lot of times it is actually very useful for me to logistically see what I'm working on. So Right now, I don't really know what these clips look like unless I'm hovering over each individual clip. And that takes a lot of time. And the larger files you have, the bigger that timeline and more complex it becomes. It's just a lot more difficult. So plus and minus on the keyboard, plus will zoom your whole timeline in. And this is great, but once you get to this point, I actually want to see what that clip looks like. So I'm going to press Shift plus, and Shift plus will expand both my video and my audio so that I can now actually scrub and I can see, oh, okay, cool. That's a clip of Anna. This is a clip of Anna here. Maybe I don't want that. So as a visual editor, as we all are, it's important that we actually see the clip we're working on. Now, if I wanted to not see everything expanded because, you know, I have a very bulky and I have a large timeline here, minus, 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 you can see there's a lot of layers happening. And sometimes if you don't have a monitor and you're working on your laptop or you're working on a smaller screen, it does get a little bit cumbersome. So if I go command minus will just minimize my video timeline and my video tracks here. And option minus will do the same for my audio. So I can then come in and say, okay, I really, really want to dive into my audio. So I'm going to go option minus, and then I'm going to go plus on the keyboard. And now I can really, really come in here and I can dive into every individual, you know, sound that I'm looking at here. So minus, let's say I wanted to come in here and add a marker on just this one beat that it, you know, hits down on. I can do that by selecting this and pressing M on the keyboard. And I really couldn't do that when I was zoomed in, you know, to here, right? So it just helps speed up the workflow. That's why I personally prefer to have a monitor, separate monitor, and a keyboard to really work on larger edits. I can certainly work on a laptop, and of course, you just work on whatever suits you best and whatever you have at your disposal. But regardless, plus minus, control, or sorry, command plus, or I believe Alt on Windows, and then option minus or option plus will do the same for your audio. And if you press control, or sorry, command, it'll do both at the same time. So that is a really, really huge tip and something I use probably 1,000 times a day when I'm in Premiere. Okay, so markers, we just discussed that a little bit, but let me just dive into that really, really quickly in case we missed it. So markers, another key piece of timing music to your visuals, right? So we wanna, let's say, time the music track perfectly to a certain beat. How do we do that without zooming in? We do that through markers, or that's one way to do it. So I'll show you an example of that right here. So let's play this out a little bit and reminded us of the beauty that surrounds us every day. Okay, so let's solo this track. This track, I really like that, like, it's subtle, but it's a change of the actual tone of that song and that music. So what I want to do is I want to add a marker there so I can actually time the clip exactly to where I want it. All right, so we're just going to click on the clip, and the beauty of Premiere is you can click on the audio clip, you can play it, and you can add the marker as you're going. So you're almost your own little DJ in this world here. So we'll play this. Great. And now we see that we've added a marker, right? So option plus, now that marker is right here. So if we really wanted to get specific with it, we could come in here and we could actually drag this clip a little bit over, and you'll notice that it actually snaps right to the marker, which is great. So if we don't want it to snap, we press S on our keyboard, and that eliminates that snap. But in most cases, and especially this case, we want it to snap. We want to have that timing be perfect. Okay, so we're going to drag that color grade out, pull this other color grade, and now if we play it back, we have a more accurate timing to what I want. Perfect. Okay, Command S, Command S. I haven't done it yet. Command S. I made one little change. Let's save. If you have any takeaway from today's stream, Command S should be the takeaway. Save your work, always save it 100 times. That thumb to index finger method should really become second nature, because it is super important. You don't want to lose the work that you're working so hard on here. All right, and any questions from the chat, feel free to throw them in there. Again, this is a really good breakdown of some of my favorite shortcuts. Why do I keep losing them today, though? I am having a tough time operating my computer. It happens, everyone. This is what happens. Oh my goodness. What is going on here? I have too many things open. I think that's what it is. Okay. So the next shortcut we're going to be talking about is called the track select forward tool. All right. And so let's minimize this. We're going to go shift minus and shift plus. Again, that expands and retracts the entire timeline as a whole. Okay. So let's say just for the sake of today's video, this intro up to 30 seconds. Let's say I wanted to take that 30 seconds, turn that into an Instagram reel or a TikTok, and the rest of the video, I just wanted to move out of the way. I just wanted to get it out of the way so I can edit. I can add some things at the end. Okay, so what I would do first is I would decide where that cut's going to be. So maybe like right here. Let's say right there. Okay, that's where I want it to cut, and I want the rest of that video to just scooch over, but I don't want to have to go in here and manually copy and copy and paste everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go Command A and then Command K. And now what I've done is I've basically clipped everything to the right of that and everything to the left of that in half. And I'm going to press A on my keyboard, and you'll notice that 2 arrows pop up here. Okay, and if I click that, I've now selected everything to the right of that. And if I go back the other way, I think there's a way to actually go, oops. Basically, you can scooch everything over. Yeah, perfect. With one move. So that right there is called the track select forward tool. It's a tool I use a lot. And it does come in handy when you're looking to just kind of create sections of your video if you're trying to move certain sections. But for today's tutorial, we're just going to bring that back, and let's keep on moving on here. Okay. Loop playback. This is a great tool and something that I've been using a lot recently for a lot of social media videos, a way for me to see that the video loops itself. I did bring this up earlier in the week, but let's talk about it one more time. If you do not see this little arrow box situation happening here in your program window, press the plus button editor icon, and you'll come into your button editor window and you'll see it. And all you have to do is drag it down here, and now you can click this on. When it's blue, it means it's on. And I'm going to show you exactly what it does, because it's magical when you're looking to time music, when you're looking to time things. Actually, let's see if I can pull a project up real quick nope, it's on a different hard drive. Never mind. But let's play this just into like maybe 5 seconds. And we're going to press the out point. It's very important if you want that loop playback to work that you create an in and an out point. So if I play this, it'll just continue to loop. And this is great for audio, which we were doing earlier in the week. It's great for color grading. It's great for timing the end of the clip to the beginning of the clip if you're looking for a perfect TikTok or an Instagram reel. So loop playback, really, really great tool. Another one of my favorite shortcuts. Okay, let's go to S, which is the snapping tool. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but if I press S on my keyboard, you'll notice that this little thing up here changes. It looks like a magnet. Okay, snap in timeline. That is how you are going to snap your clips together properly if you're looking to time them. So let's take these 2 clips, for example, right here. Let's say I bring these 2 clips up and I just want these to snap together. If I press S on my keyboard right now, you'll notice that I've unsnapped them. So there's going to be no snapping happening. I'm not going to get as specific to that clip. You can follow that time code, but it's just not as specific. If I press S, now I have a snap. Now I have this clip that's going to snap to wherever the end or the beginning of that clip goes. And that's a really, really powerful feature and something that allows you to just time things the way you want, because video, audio, we as professional video editors, we want to have everything timed properly to the way we want it. Okay, so I'm going to press Command Z, another shortcut. That should be the bonus too. Command Z and Command S. Always want to undo stuff. And what's nice is you can actually move these clips around and just press S on your keyboard, and you can actually see it happening kind of dynamically. So if I press S again, now it snaps. If I'm moving it still and I press S again, I don't have to snap it. So it is really nice. It's a great key. And if you don't want the shortcut, excuse me, it's right here in your timeline. So you'll see it. It says S. Okay. So let's move on to Command plus L. These are linked and unlinked clips. And that's all you really need to understand with this shortcut. It's something that, again, I do use a lot because there are times when I drag a whole clip in video and audio, and may only use the audio clip. I may only use the video clip. I might use part of the video clip and a little bit of the audio clip. And I don't want them to necessarily be linked the whole time as I'm cutting. And so how do you unlink them? So if you came in here, let's find a clip that is a good example. Okay. So this clip here is of goofy old me. You guys have not seen enough of me apparently, so I have to show you more in our edit. Command S. That's just instinct right there. If I click this, you'll notice that these two clips are connected, right? Because they're both highlighted. If I want to just edit the video here and not the audio or vice versa, I'm just going to go Command L. And now if I click these, I can edit them individually. I can edit them separately. And it's a really, really powerful feature. The one thing you do need to be mindful of if you're just starting to do this is starting to move these things around, because this is your audio, because then your audio, if it is dialogue, is going to get totally mixed up and it won't be synced as properly. So I tend to do this with, B-roll clips that don't have my actual audio in them. But you can certainly, from here, I can just adjust this clip. I can throw another clip over it. And the reason we went back to the beginning is because we have our in and out points. So we're going to clear those. So if I played this back, sorry, Iceland, you would hear me before you see me because I dragged this clip out. So, and right now, let's say I want to snap this again, S, and we're back to snap. So these aren't just tools that I threw in there for, the sake of today's video. These are tools that I genuinely use on a regular basis. And I really tried to think out the core like 10 to 15 ones that I use on every edit, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing. So I know we're running a little low on time. We got a couple left here. The pen tool. Oh man, is the pen tool a powerful tool in Premiere Pro, as it is in every application that Adobe has. But we have the pen tool here. So P, very simple. And you'll notice that V turns your cursor to an actual selection and P turns it to a pen. And I've expanded this. So if I'm not expanded here, you can't actually see any lines on your audio and your video and your adjustment layers. But if I expand this, Shift plus, right, I can now notice that I have all of these bars on my my layers here. And the reason for that is they can operate a number of different things. They can operate your keyframes in speed, in opacity, or different motion properties. And the pen tool is beautiful because you can actually draw on those properties and adjust opacity, adjust your speed ramping, things like that. So let's say I wanted to just take my opacity down of me here. I can take the pen tool, because right now I'm on opacity. The reason I know that is if I drag this down, I'm gone, right? And so I drag this down, there I go, there I go, there I go. But let's say I wanna actually like keyframe this a little bit. I wanna create a gradual opacity. I'm gonna press the pen tool here. I'm gonna create some points, okay? And I'm gonna start to drag this down rather than just all at once, okay? So if I play this back now, I go, but, oh, there we go. Not an appropriate place for that to happen, but you get the idea. Okay. And the same applies to speed ramping and your audio tracks as well. So play around with the pen tool. It really, really is a great way to get super specific in your edits. And I think we're probably going to run low on time today to really get into the pen tool. Maybe that'll be for the next creative challenge. We can spend a whole lesson on that. The last two I want to talk about is Command J. And this, I think I set this up. Yep, Command J. This is your speed and your duration. Excuse me, this won't be automatically set for you. So if you go to Premiere Pro and you go to your keyboard shortcuts and you just click speed, I set this to Command J. That's my own personal keyboard shortcut that I like, but I like having a shortcut for speed, because if you didn't have one, you would right click this, you'd have to find speed and duration. It's just one additional step. And this allows me to then Command J, come in here, I can reverse the speed, I can change the speed. I can do that very, very quickly. It's a great little hack and something that you should definitely set up a shortcut for. And the last one is just go to the selected clip start. So if I want to go back to the beginning, J, that's what I set up, because my name's James. And so if I'm over here in this timeline and I don't want to have to drag all the way back, I just press J and I'm back to the beginning. And just like that, we have kind of breezed through the shortcuts that I have laid out for everyone. Again, like I said in the beginning, Command S and Command Z are probably the most used shortcuts for anybody, because you just, you want to undo everything and you want to make sure everything is saved. And I can go on and on. I mean, this could be really a 2-hour session of me talking about shortcuts, but no one wants to sit here and listen to that. Hopefully you still can get something out of the brief little document I put together and this video as we're rolling through the shortcuts in Premiere Pro and really the benefit to using them, because it will help you become more efficient in your process, in your workflow in the future, create better videos in a more timely manner. And I think all in all, just have more fun editing in Premiere Pro, which really, if we're concluding everything, is what it all comes down to: having fun, editing videos, telling beautiful stories, and enjoying using the tools that are at our disposal. So that is it for me for the week, for today. Thank you to everyone who followed along this week on our Daily Creative Challenge. Thank you to those who have participated, who asked questions. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, a beautiful Friday afternoon, and I cannot wait to hopefully do this again sometime. Please make sure to check out more of these videos on Adobe Creative Cloud YouTube channel, over on Behance. They're there every single day, and there's just some beautiful content. So with that being said, I will let you all enjoy your weekend, and we will see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.